Hi, welcome back to Acoustic Guitar Lessons with Tom Sweeney. Today we're going to be working with the 12-bar blues in the key of A. Leon down in Brazil had asked if I'd post something in the key of A. So let's take a look at a couple of the things I did in that little introduction section. I'm going to start with an A7th chord. I'm going to finger it slightly different, but normally you would see it with the open A string, second fret on the D string, open G string, second fret on the B string, and an open E string. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pinky and place it on the third fret of the high E. So the first beat of the first measure is an open A string. The second beat will strum that A7th chord. The third beat, on the down strum, we move that pinky from the third fret of the high E string to the second fret of the high E string to make an A13th. And on the up strum, we remove the pinky and just slightly up strum an A7 fingered, the open A string, second fret, open, second fret, open. Okay, and for the fourth beat, we do the open A string and then another light up strum on those high strings, the E, B, and G. One more time. For the D7th chord in the second measure, we'll finger that with the first finger on the first fret of the B string. We'll let the pad of that finger lightly touch the high E string to mute it out. With our second finger, we're reaching all the way up to the low E string on the second fret. And we use the pad of that finger to mute out the string below it, the open A. We don't want that A string or the high E string to be heard. With the ring finger, we'll place that on the second fret of the G string. So we have it second fret on the low E, open D string, second fret on the G string, first fret on the B string. There's our D7th. And what I'm doing, the first beat is on that second fret of the low E. Strum the chord. When you strum down on that chord, immediately pull off your first finger from the first fret of the B string so you have an open B string. With the up strum, catch the second fret of the G string. And what those last two notes were is the open B string and then the first fret of the B string. And then the second fret of the low E string, and the up strum is grabbing the bottom couple notes of that D7, the high strings, the B and the G. The next two measures were back in A7th. And the chords we're going to use are the A7th fingered open A, 2, open, 2, open. Then we're going to slide our middle finger up to the 4th fret and place our first finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. So we have O, 4, O, 3, O. The next chord we'll use is the same as the A7th except on the 5th fret. So O, 5, O, 5, O. Slide down to the second chord we used, O, 4, O, 3, O. Back to the A7th. Then lift up your ring finger from the second fret on the B string, and then back down. And the way we're phrasing that okay, so from the beginning what we have okay, and that's where we go back to the D7th. What I do to lead in is grab that first fret of the low E with my thumb. And we do the D7th the same as we did the second measure. Exactly. And for the next measure of D7th, we're going to walk the bass line. So on the down, we'll be using the bass note, and on the up, we'll be strumming the chord. So second fret on the low E. Use your pinky to go up to the third fret on the low E string. Open A string. Second fret on the A string. Okay, and that leads us back into the A7th. Now we're going to do the same type of thing where we walk the chord up. Start it the same way as we did with the A7th to the 5th fret. Slide that same positioning up to the 7th. So it's O, 7, O, 7, O. Then slide it once more to get an O, 9, O, 8, O. O, 9, O, 8, O. Okay, and then go back down. We're going to go to the E chord, which is fingered open, 2, 2, 1, open, open. And how I play this part is I start by playing the open low E string. My up strum is on the high E and the B strings. And then I do a hammer on from an open G string and hammer my first finger back into position on that first fret. Then I'm going to, right after that hammer on, I play an open E string and the B string at the 3rd fret. And I end it off by playing the 1st fret of the G string and the 2nd fret of the B string. And then we do the D7th, the same as we did in the second measure. And what we'll do for the turnaround is from the A7th position, we'll play the open A string, then slide up with our middle finger from the 2nd fret of the D string up to the 5th fret of the D string. Then with our ring finger, we'll place that on the 5th fret of the high E string. And we'll walk that down to the 4th fret on the D string, again on the 5th fret of the high E, to the 3rd fret of the D string, the high E, and the 2nd fret of the D string. And you can grab that high E string again at the 5th fret. So that 5th fret on the high E is your root during that little walk down. Into an A chord. Into an E chord. And then we can start the progression all over again. So there's an example of what you can do with the 12-bar blues in the key of A when you're playing in open position. There are a couple of spots in there where it seems like I'm attacking a specific note within the chord, doing the pull-offs and hammer-ons, that type of thing. Try not to focus too much on picking those completely out of the chord. You want your right hand to stay relaxed and strumming right along so that there's really no interruption in your strumming pattern. And kind of let your strumming hand in the pick grab those notes and emphasize them a little bit more. The more you practice, the easier that type of thing gets. So I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to drop me a line. Always happy to hear from you, and we'll see you next time. Have fun. Take care.